ushered in a new era in our politics. The national conscience shall never come to terms with the tragedy that has befallen our country. In the midst of our sorrow, the tears of our people shall fuel our quest for the attainment of the principles and ideals that Motswaledi lived for. The principles of genuine democracy that affords every individual a fair opportunity to achieve his best, and a transparent, non-corrupt government accountable to the rule of law and the will of his people. The passing of our leader, MK Motswaledi, presents our people with a difficult and yet unavoidable question of whether our systems of government are designed to serve the interests of our people or whether they serve a few ruling elites. Our pain over the demise of our leader evokes questions of trust over the security organs of our country, as presently run under the regime of the BDP. As doubt and confusion permeates our political air, we observe with disdain the business as usual and cavalier approach that the present regime often affords the problems that are besieging the country, the problems which Comrade Gomolemo Motswaledi fought for in his short but successful political career. Seji fought against the rule of a man, the rule by fear that President Ian Khama is synonymous with. While he was at the BDP, Motswaledi sought to restore sanity and the rule of law and democracy in the Ian Khama-led BDP, a move which saw him being unceremoniously expelled from the party 2 months prior to 2009 general elections. His death 2 months to this year general elections cannot be treated as an isolated and unsuspicious act of nature taking its course. We are aware that President Khama nurtures a deep-rooted hatred for Motswaledi and the principle he stood for. The cause of freedom. Botswana is of the democratic cause. The present regime has eroded all non-democratic ideals that this country has known. However, even in the midst of our pain and the passing of our leader, we gather strength in the saying that one cannot destroy a bush by cutting the tallest trees. The cause of freedom shall not be halted, and on the contrary, it shall persist even with more vigor and determination. The ideals that Motswaledi lived for shall remain embedded in our hearts and shall always define the course of our politics. In our pain, we shall never lose focus of the challenges faced by our society. The challenge of unfair, unequal distribution of our country's natural resources that has seen communities in the Okavango region become spectators as a few local elites with their foreign friends unfairly appropriate to themselves huge chunks of natural resources to themselves at the expense of the majority. The challenge of massive corruption level that has become a signature of the Khama presidency. The challenge of poverty that has reduced our leaders in rural areas to be beggars at the side of President Khama. Just like our departed leader, we shall continue with even more resolver calls for an inclusive economy and transparent government that respect the rule of law and democratic principles. We demand, as Gomolemo Motswaledi did, an end to the rule of a man in the form of Ian Khama and return to the rule of law. The reign of President Khama and his dominance over government institutions such as the DCEC, DIS, the police and the military must be brought to an end and the rule of law must be reinstated. This is what Motswaledi lived for and cherished, and we shall continue our struggle along this course. Botswana was not meant to be a monarchy, and presidential directives can never take precedence over the written laws of the land as is the current state. Khama has turned himself into an unaccountable monarch presiding over desperate subjects, and in this regard, we shall continue to call for an amendment of our constitution to reduce the powers of the presidency of Botswana and subject it to proper systems of checks and balances according to the law. Erosion of confidence in the state security agency. Our memory is still fresh with how in the past the current regime had eliminated what they termed undesirable elements through extrajudicial killings. Graphic details of how John Kalafatis was executed by state security agents are still vivid in our memory. The subsequent pattern extended to John Kalafatis killers rendered President Khama an accomplice in the death of that innocent man. The state of Affairs has eroded our trust over a government-led investigation into Gomolemo Motswaledi's death. Our security organs cannot be trusted to stand up against the dictates of their political masters. In this regard, we support fully an independent investigation into the purported car accident that took our leader's life. It is the state of affairs we find ourselves in, where the president has taken control of institutions such as the police, the DCEC, the DIS, and the military intelligence, which speaks to us and make us refuse to believe that the present government can conduct a fair investigation. We have heard of allegations of existence of hit list. Until the contrary is proved by a transparent investigation, we will not accept that MK Motswaledi's young life has been brought to an end by an act of God. He was son of God. Not yet sunset the way forward. As the youth of the UDC, we refuse to accept that it is sunset for Motswaledi. The sun cannot set at the break of dawn for such a young, vibrant, and committed servant of our people. Until evidence is produced, we call on our people to treat the death of Motswaledi as consistent with acts of criminality famous with African dictatorships. The Khama regime has prepared its bed, and it must accept responsibility for the erosion of our trust and the suspicions of foul play that currently persists as regards his death. To demonstrate our misgivings with the current state of affairs, we shall intensify our campaigns against the current regime by holding massive demonstrations and public rallies in the whole country. We call on our youth from all the political divide to participate actively in the unfolding era by availing themselves and participating in the demonstrations. We are setting up a strategy team which will inform and guide our campaigns. We call on members of the civil society to speak out against these blatant injustices and declining state of affairs in our country. We shall approach progressive civil society organizations with a view of devising a centralized, all-inclusive campaign mechanisms to put pressure on the ruling regime to effect the long overdue democratic changes that the nation craves. Ile hala le sola ga mandela le diragala gore re focus ya go le sola ga mandela so gompieno dipampiri tsotlhe media o focus mo go Isaac Khosi so ga se gore ga re bone gore go le ka go shift ya focus gore ano go yo go le sola ga Motswaledi go tlogale di investigation me hala after pitwa ga Motswaledi ra le tshepisa gore banna ba we are going to bring them to book ya lebo.
Thank you. Ba ga tse ke a le dumedisa many ke pela hanga simula ka ba ma kwa mi ke supe gore kana e la re dirisele go la gore the passing away of Comrade Motswaledi. I need to replace that word by killing of Comrade Motswaledi. Because comrades go lobaka go simologile under the Khama regime ka 2009 we have lost the life of Mosimanyana by ne ba bolawa ke sepodisi and up to now go santse ra go sna special supala gore tsomi sa starting di tsamagakane. Then how do we believe gore ta re mona kwa gompieno after the killing of Comrade Motswaledi e bele ke gore bo etlo dipelo tsa Khama le sepodisi bo supa gore ta go tsweletse gore he madu a ra batang a go thothomisa kotsi ya ga mokauli we le gore e dirile le tshwanetse re le re supegetse gore ba gaitse rona re le youth league ya UDC le tshwanetse re eme ka dinao kgathabele mmaga mongwe le mongwe yo reng hameng ga pele ka go tsaya lesola a go tsaya comrade botlhokwa comrade le gore gompieno ana ne le ngwe tsela ya go leka go khakhamolola the current UDC leadership. With that, this thing is really more strong than ever. With that, as young people of this project, we will stand up, really teaming, really really tupa, tsaleselo ja community na tabu. Gore re ka moso, re le nele, se leng gore in the resebata. Community na dimela ya gore tshwantse re kama October re be re tsere puso me tshwantse re ya go tsa puso ya ka go ntse jalo me re kopa lona se tshaba re kopa lona banana go ema ka dinao e re special ka se bua se re kopa le bolotso na le rona ba gaetso re santse na re ta tswela ja ka mokalong wa buile gore re ta treata le sola ga comrade e le pola go itheleleng tsotse leng gore di a tlhokagala go supa gore ga se pola di tiso pele ga bona me tshwantse re supa go le di khatse di tsa mo ditseleng tsa gore go tsweletse gompieno batho ba le gore le bone di key witnesses tse le gore di diriteng di supa gore gompieno di a nyela re tshwanetse re supe go mo ke tsamaiso ya go leka go ka tlhatswa le go ipa bophepa go gore comrade ga bola ba tshwanetse re itse gore comrade o bolaiwe ke ra gore I want to put that in record bakaulengwe gore re itse gore jaanong this is not passing away, this is the killing of comrade Gomolemo Motswaledi.
What is even more shocking is those who hated and persecuted Comrade Motswaledi ran in a supersonic speed go TV aka ile a ba mo suspenda ba tabagala go TV ba supa ka le maswa le indiscipline ka teng mme gompieno ga ba etsa go tlhokagala bone ba bolaiwa ba tabagala go radio le go TV ba go supa ka eleng a very promising young man na le ka teng that very hypocrite.
Mare ragatelle ma go kwa batho beso position e ke buang ke yona ya rona rote is a collective decision. Rona se re se lemogang ke gore santa re isupe gore rona re le banana ba UDC ga re dumelane le magokwaneng a bua maabane ke mbulawa a supang gore ga go na le any investigation, a private investigation, re tshwanetse gore re thusane le bone. The fact that re institute a private investigation go supa gore we don't trust them. Therefore gona ga re ka kopa le bone, so we don't trust them. They are just unreliable the people. Ke tshwanetse gore ke isu sa be ke gore ba gaetso we don't need an angel from God. Go lema gore ya ka ba ka le ngo ba bua comrade le go kolole le gore da ke sa ba go le bua mme ke lone ke le tsabana ka gore ke a tenega so santa ba so ga bona o sa itse gore Motswaledi was neither drink nor smoke. Motswaledi nna ke tsamaile le ene thata ne ke na le ene go se re ga no ga goge ya no nganyela e tle ya gore go ithetse go jala go nkga mokolo ile ba botela a bo jalo. Is a clear indication that the PDP is responsible for his death. Whatever tola ba go ba ka go le go di mo ha ba tsena ra ba bolela go you are responsible for comrade's death. So ga re thoke mo ile go ta gore bolele kanya santse re bua ba ka lengwe ke gore mapodisi ba na le mathata ka boza go bona le ka palwa le ka ga isa ke just a paper. How is the voice paper? Yeah, super worry. One of the eyewitnesses was super more worry. We did we does about the valley on who. If you don't know wearing mask, il on time, we're going to allow it in time. Elimu, to you got to give me crazy. Remember, so a police on the way, I will attend him to Yarimo, Bonica, or Ari, after 30 minutes. If I worry on a little, so I did. Kayar nere hakamasa ke ornare SSG ya go tine bumpunyu ga e tswa go mo ga borone why SSG ke ra ori ipuse gore ma SSG ne ba tswa go ka gore ba tsena go e kana ka gore ba tswa mo ga borone ba latela motho kwa ibile ga be khanteri di utwa ngape ka gore batho ba re bola ke gore gone go accident scene nyele go utla gore se re ba sa mo ka ilengwa ga sa tswa ke ma SSG. Me wa mari ke gore ha se tsena go se ne se tsena ya no le ma SSG ga te go ya no se tsere ke bana bangwe ba very private clothes potso ke gore ba mo gane answer ba ke bone ba so we need to know so ke so ile mo sa tsere se be ke ala ba batho beso
beso le di medisitse